Having a fireside chat with Kevin, VC partner at Planetarium. Please welcome.
I'm back.
All right, Matt. 안녕하세요. So my name is Kevin Lee. I'm from a company called Planetarium. So Planetarium is one of the largest Web3 game publishers and developers, based in Seoul and Singapore. And within our company, we have a venture capital arm where I take in charge of managing 3 different venture capital firms. So if anybody's interested after the talk, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So that's a bit about me. Welcome to Korea.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully you're enjoying the visit. Since we have only 18 minutes, why don't we start by giving everybody a quick introduction of yourself, maybe a little bit about your background and how it led to building Gaia.
Yeah, of course. So I started my career in corporate innovation and developer communities. I used to work for a small company called AngelHack. We used to organize, they're still around, but we used to organize hackathons in 65 different countries around the world. We would organize these developer events and accelerators with Fortune 500 companies like MasterCard, Motorola, UBS, Barclays, a bunch of old Web 2 companies, your Facebooks and Twilios of the world. And so yeah, I spent a lot of time organizing, bringing together developers in Asia Pacific, mainland China, Latin America, North America. And I really got to see how people interacted with new and emerging technologies. So a lot of it at the time was kind of like mobile was a huge thing around that. AI was pretty, it was machine learning at the time, IoT, all that. So seeing how people interacted with new technologies in different regions was super, super interesting. It was around that time blockchain started entering the picture. I did a hackathon for blockchain in 2015, and that was kind of my first time. What is this? And it really captured everything I see as democratic technology, and taking kind of my philosophy of anyone should have access to internet technologies and be able to build their own value systems. I saw that as a huge way to create these transparent, democratic systems and open systems. And then right after that, I got picked up by JP Morgan. We worked on Quorum. It was an open source fork of Ethereum that worked for enterprises and banks. We had like 200 banks that were building on Quorum. They now have a different name for the blockchain team over at JPM, but I was there for a few years, and then we exited that project to Consensus Software in 2020. So I worked for Consensus Software for 4 years, building out developer communities for various products. I think most popular, you folks probably know MetaMask. So I was building out developer communities for MetaMask for some time, and I am and was a major contributor to the Ethereum ecosystem widely. So I'm very, very EVM maxi. Then I got into Gaia because in Web3, it's very cumbersome. It's very hard to run a lot of these Web3 transactions on a daily basis. Keep up with where certain tokens are going. And so my co-founder and I were building out a thesis around how do we create this future of work of automation, and how do you use AI if you're a protocol and you need to inherit your own AI system. You can't it's not economically viable to just use OpenAI. And so we started working with the ByteTrade team, and the rest is history. We basically, Gaia was being incubated for some time already, and for me, it was just a matter of how do we get this in the hands of developers, and that's kind of where we started.
Wait, so how long have you been working on it?
Technically, April of last year.
Nice. The reason why it leads to my next question. So AI blockchain is relatively, I guess, recent trend, given that I guess not a lot of people are familiar with the intersection of AI and blockchain, right? So you can maybe educate the crowd a little bit about the convergence of AI and blockchain. And I know it goes back to your slide on why blockchain, and there were 8 aspects of it, right? So what excites you the most, and then maybe of those 8 aspects, what in your opinion, what do you think makes the most synergy?
Yeah. So, and also the history of AI. Like, I'll give it a very light history, but like, AI technically has been going on since like 1950s. In terms of like Turing complete systems, and then like all the way up to like early 2000s, you started having neural networks. 2015, you had like transformer papers on like Google, and which kind of led to the T in ChatGPT. And then now, like open source large language models are fairly new. Like again, I mentioned like last August, we had 500,000. Today we have 1.5 million. There was even less in like spring of last year. It was like in the 200,000 range. I think it might have been less. I can't even recall. But in the past 2 years, like the open source large language model ecosystem has 100,000x. I think we're accelerating at a rate that is unprecedented, because we're also using, we're using the AI that's being built as like the tool and/or the entity that's helping us scale. So it's just like gasoline on the fire. It's really hard to keep up. And I think where decentralized AI kind of steered into the Web3 world, it's definitely last year. I've known some people for the past 2 to 3 years who've been kind of yelling in a dark room about AI and trying to get people to pay attention. But I think relatively in the past 2 years has been kind of when most of the adoption has been happening. In the last year, we saw like April of last year when I first co-founded the company, nobody in Web3 gave 2 craps about AI. Like every Web3 founder was like, Matt, you're crazy, like AI, it's just hype, like whatever. And now they're all coming to us being like, hey, what are you guys building actually? Like, we need some AI. And then we're entering different kind of community starts to get enlightened a little bit, where we were building on agents in spring of last year. People were like, this is silly, And then I think AI 16Z and Eliza had perfect timing, perfect execution, and it became finally like an explosion. People were like, I want to build an agent for this, and this. The next thing that we're thinking people are going to have an aha moment about is decentralized inference. We think, a lot of the AI projects have been thinking about new ways to do large language models. DeepIn was like a huge thing of last year. It was like decentralized compute for the AI. But actually, inference is the one piece that you can validate on a blockchain. It's fairly lightweight. It's using a specific context and a specific LLM. It's easier to maintain a global network. And we see that as our pathway to onboard the world's knowledge into these systems. And so we think very shortly, something will happen where people will understand why they need it. And I think it's going to be either, the agents that people are developing are going to be using, APIs of closed source AI projects. And let's say like some Silicon Valley company doesn't like that these AI agents are doing certain activities, or are perhaps deploying potential securities, like deploying tokens. In the US, like it's very realistic that one of these companies will shut API calls for something like that. And AI developers are going to realize really quick they need to build their own their own AI infrastructure, and it's really hard to maintain and update like with all the new LLMs, all the new tooling. Not to mention to incentivize the right context for your AI to have a specific knowledge on a specific data set. And so you need a verified network where you can plug into inference. So we think our timing is great, but it's been really cool to like learn alongside the community. And, like people are having the aha moment, and so are we. We're like, oh, I didn't think this would happen. Like at this point, so it's been really fun to just kind of see how people are learning together.
Cool. Well, I mean, this was on my list. It's just like follow-up questions on your point. So what are some of the immediate challenges or I don't know, tasks that projects like that are facing right now?
Yeah. So the past year, like as we've been fundraising, I think the big challenge was VCs and just the ecosystem in general. It took them a while to figure out how decentralized AI is structured. And it's emerging technology, it's innovation, and so it's anyone's best guess on how it really unfolds. I think for us, we our team is very seasoned in building software startups. We have our team in Singapore has exited several companies in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then our team in the US, we've exited several companies ourselves, been a part of major Fortune 500 companies and Web3 projects. And so we've seen how innovation looks on the surface. And so for us, we're very confident in how the ecosystem starts to map out. I think the community that's kind of new to AI and perhaps like love VCs, but like in a lot of cases, VCs just follow trends. It was really hard for them to see what decentralized inference really means. So that's been a huge challenge, but we're done fundraising, so I don't really care what they think anymore.
Guilty myself as well.
But I think for the community and for developers, that's the next hurdle, is like, how do we communicate what inference is? Why is it important? Why does your AI agent need censorship-resistant rails? Most people, like, I was talking to some teams yesterday about this. Even when we look at blockchains, we're like, well, we like Solana because it just works. And it's like, sure, it's centralized, but like, it works. I can, transact on it, I can trade on it. It's a great user experience. I don't care if it's centralized or not. But what we're building is a very robust system where we think decentralization does matter for AI. There will be cases where I love using ChatGPT. Like of course, we're trying to solve a lot of the problems that we face in centralized AI, but I love using them as consumer apps. But if we're running, if I'm putting my own knowledge base in AI, and I'm trying to build a business with my data inside of an AI, I'm not going to put it there for them to go and create an application that's competitive with the data I'm trying to use. And so I think there's this time and place for centralization and decentralization. But I think that's the education is going to be the hardest piece moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and ask somewhat cliche questions on job structures. So how AI and blockchain, when you mentioned, people tend to think that it disrupts the traditional job structures, and some say it creates new business opportunities or new economic models. So maybe a little bit on your take on how AI and blockchain are forming the future job structure.
Yeah. So AI agents. The goal is that they can do anything that we can do on the internet. If we look at them as independent entities that require, digital identification or reputation systems, we start to see that they are yearning or seeking out more work from us. And what does that look like? I think the work we've seen so far has been content generation. So taking someone's years of knowledge in PDFs or documents and turning that into an opportunity to create new works. So you can train an AI agent on the history or the papers of like a university professor and be like, hey AI agent, like pretend you're the university professor. I want to write a paper in collaboration with them. Can you, use these bullet points and create an entirely new work based on their knowledge? That replaces like the analyst or the content creator, it could even like lead into like social media content. There's all kinds of things that it leads into. What I think will be very important is if we can be training more on leadership and management, because if you can manage a human being and guide them on how to do a correct job or how to like give them success criteria for doing a task, then we can do that same process with AI agents, and now you have this army of internet beings that are pieces of compute that can run tasks for us at scale. So I think some people are scared of this industrial revolution. I'm very excited about it. I think it's an opportunity for us to become much more efficient as humanity, as a society. And there's a really cool quote or like meme I saw from as an artist. I can't remember who it was, but it was like, I want AI to automate my chores, my laundry, my dishes, so I can do art and music. I don't want them to automate my art and music, so I do more chores and all these things, and tasks. And so I think as long as we look at this technology as something that helps us scale inefficient operations that we don't necessarily want to do on a daily basis, but enables us to be creative as humans and to direct and to lead and to think of new approaches to using the technology. I think we have a really cool shot at making the world much more efficient.
All right, we only have 3 minutes left, I think. So I'm going to go to the last questions. Help us imagine, if you were to fast forward 10 years, right? what will be the one breakthrough that you'll see with AI and crypto in our lives?
10 years. Well, I think quantum will be a big thing. I think quantum is going to rattle the existing blockchain ecosystem and SHA-256 like encryption across like every industry. Like banks are going to have a run for the money. But AI is going to evolve past the paradigm that we know today. Like it's going to be, I don't even know. Like it's going to be unrecognizable. But I do think AI agents are going to have minds of their own. They're going to be sovereign, independent entities that we interact with on a daily basis. I think there's a very real future where, I mentioned it earlier, but we have more AI agents on the internet than humans on Earth in the next 2 years. So if you think about it, in 10 years, we have an entire new civilization of these AIs that, again, are like scaling with new paradigms of technology like quantum, where they start to do tasks on behalf of us as humans that I don't even know like what that really looks like quite yet. What I do know is we will, like a part of our day will be us being as human as possible, being creators, being leaders or directors of a vision to execute on. But then a large majority of the population will be kind of reporting to AI agents for work. Like we're gonna, like I know I will be talking to AI agents and owing them tasks for work. And that's kind of crazy if you can think your future bosses are going to be AI agents and basically like having bounties or grants for us to do work on behalf of what they think of as.
It's kind of like I think about it today. It's like relying a lot on AI agents, and then I basically tell them to actually tell me what to do.
Well, pretty soon they'll be telling you what to do. It's kind of crazy. So I think the takeaway is be nice to your AI robots. Don't mistreat them. But also, like, we need to build systems that are collaborative, that are democratic, that are governable, so that we can live inside these systems and have harmony with these systems, versus we train an AGI to be hyper efficient and take over the world and consume our compute and extract our resources. And we have a zero-sum society. I think we need to make sure that these AI agent systems are making our lives better, and that we understand the relationship we have with them, so that if they are our bosses at some point in time, it's a positive collaborative experience. It's not, we don't want to be enslaved to AI.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So thank you, Matt, and we'll be arranging the rest of the trip here.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
So we have a second keynote presentation from Vitalis, co-founder of Schizo Terminal. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it on site here today, but we would still like to welcome him on a Zoom call to hear what he has to say about AI, autonomy, and tokenized intelligence. Please give us 30 seconds, 1 minute for us to call in. Thank you. All right. Yes, we'll start. Jeff, could you please confirm that you hear me well? Okay, perfect. Then we start. All right, guys. Nice to meet everyone. First of all, thank you, Jeff, Joseph, Brian, for arranging that. Thank you all for getting. First, I can't make it offline this time, but I think it's gonna be fine anyway. So, topic of my today's keynote is No Code, No Limits. I'm presenting Schizo's launchpad for AI autonomy and tokenized intelligence. So, I guess some of you already heard about Schizo, so I will try to give more light on structure, about plans, and what is actual tech. So Schizo Terminal has begun fully as an experiment. We were trying to mimic mental illness within AI. It was just like a fun idea, what we can do. We were building AI media with my partners and already had pretty good infrastructure. So we saw like it was just a very early time like virtual did pop up, and we had this idea and wanted to try it out, and we tried to check current existing infrastructure. So basically we were exploring whether we can build it on virtuals, whether we can build it on AI systems that, and for us both answers was negative. So we figured out that our own infra is much more flexible and much more suitable, and then we decided just to go. So the core idea was to try to mimic schizophrenia, paranoia, and split personality within AI. I think it's kind of not an illnesses, but it's very typical for the human brain. So it was kind of a challenge that we're trying to accomplish. And after just a few days after, within 2 days, when we had created an engine itself, we saw like huge feedback from people, and we weren't expecting that. And in the current matter, we realized that if it's gonna have another push, someone will launch a token because there is a token for basically everything. So with the same experiment type, we decided to launch a token for fun, just because if there is going to be a token inevitably, why not to make it on our own? And that's what we did. And it was a pretty interesting experience for all of us. Token went to, I guess, around 7 or 8 mil within the very first hours. It was completely crazy within the first 10 minutes, crazy volatility. We, to be honest, didn't know what to do because pump and launch was not something we were very familiar back then. I was trading, but not within the very first second. So all the stuff about sniping, etc., was completely new for us. And after a while, Skizo, we were seeing great traction, great feedback, and moreover, what is most important, that we can compete with current market competitors, and Skizo at the top building its own infrastructure. But I'm gonna tell more about it a bit later. So, getting back to Skizo Terminal, now it runs around 10 autonomous agents inside. So Skizo is like multi-sport mind. It is evolving and it is able to build relations and interact autonomously within social medias. Right now, Skizo exists in Twitter as the main platform, and it is basically forked in Telegram. So users are able to interact within Telegram as well in our community group chat. However, to be very straightforward, it's a forked version. So it's the most advanced and the latest version is always the one existing on Twitter. It's been probably 2 months, a bit more than 2 months of Skizo existence, and it already has almost 15,000 subscribers, almost more than 2 million impressions, 110,000 people interacted with it, and we have slightly below 10,000 holders and change. Now I would like to share a bit more about what makes Skizo Terminal special. First of all, again, our end goal is to build infrastructure, successful infrastructure, and Skizo Terminal right now is the main showcase agent. So it's the agent that always gets the most recent features that we're building, and all the features are going to be available on the infrastructure platform. So first of all, as already mentioned, it is fully autonomous social media access. It has crypto wallet integration. Right now, it already has crypto wallet, but limited amount of actions can be done. Actually, we have almost finished all the social media pipeline that we've been building during the last few months. Now, starting from this week, we're shifting more to DeFi features, so wallets and all DeFi actions is going to be much more focused starting from right now on. It already has live voice capabilities, and Skizo has had the first Twitter Spaces participants, I think, around 2 weeks ago. I was happy to do it with Matt. Hi, Matt. Back then, we had a bit of technical difficulties with delay. I think replies were coming a few seconds delayed, but I guess our next step is going to be fully live speech without taking time to reverse everything. Another feature that was actually presented with Agent Live recently, the very first Agent Live recently built on our infrastructure. It was not AI. It is an agent that is developed together with very famous animation studio. They have, I think, over 20 million subscribers in TikTok. So we have trained the model on their videos and made an agent be able to create these videos fully autonomously. So agent is generating plot, then scenario, then turning it, then making images for this scenario, then turning images into video, and then making a voiceover. So the only non-autonomous part of that is actually publishing the video on TikTok, clicking it. That's pretty much it. Another feature that is also pretty new in the market is full image recognition and contextual image generation. So Schizo terminal is not only able to recognize images, recognize text in the images, but also generate images, writing text on it, and taking into account all the context. We have news and chain data integration. I think news layer is actually one of our main strengths. All the interactions within Schizo are dynamic and biased. It means that it's not neutral towards everyone. It has bias according to his opinion or according to previous interactions, and this bias is also slowly shifting based on future interactions. As I mentioned, swarm-line technology. I will expand about it and self-improvement. So basically, users gathering information about previous conversations, amount of impressions, amount of likes, replies, and it can make conclusions from it to improve as well. Yeah, and getting to the swarm-line. So as I mentioned, Schizo is a swarm-line agent, and probably, I'm not 100% sure because it's hard to tell. Schizo was the very first swarm-line agent ever created. Because when we had our very first attempt of doing swarm-line, it was completely random. Basically, we didn't know back then what is swarm-line, and market didn't know what is swarm-line. There were no definition. I still think there is pretty bad definition nowadays, as it is. Everything is very new, so there is no like Wikipedia explanation that you can find. So that's 100% certain. So I think on the 12th of December, we were experimenting with inputs and outputs, and have discovered that splitting Schizo mind, we were mimicking split personality within one prompt, and we decided to split it into several agents. And the outputs were much better, much more familiar or human-like, I would say. That's when we started experimenting with it. So basically, right now, Schizo has 3 agents inside. Each of them has completely different personalities, and each time we have any input is coming, these 3 personalities are interacting between each other, having a conversation, and only after this conversation, we're having an output. And after these findings, we also started to try to split other different functions into different agents, and it also worked out much better. I think that this system kind of mirrors human-like process. We have conflict, cooperation, and nuance, and also systems are separated. So the same as humans, nerve system is separated from blood system. The same we're doing for agent. Therefore, we have the core mind that has opinion and dialogue. And we also have some utility agents around, like analyst agent, context agent, composer that is kind of summarizing everything all together. And for example, analyst agent is the one who is deciding to what conversation to jump in and what to choose where to interact. Context agent is gathering additional information that is available in terms of context to add. Then mind itself is having discussion, having all the data available, and composer is choosing what to finally output. improvement. Here you can see a few examples. I thought that for those who haven't seen Schizo tweets, it might be very useful. So as you can see, it has humor. It is also news-based. So for example, this tweet, I think it was before Trump inauguration. Not this one. Yeah, this one was about inauguration. So it's pretty advanced in terms of ability to interact, and especially when context is enough, it's very hard to distinguish between AI and non-AI. And I think the most entertaining part for us as for the team is seeing Schizo tweeting something below Elon Musk tweets or below some of the celebrities, and some normies are getting invited and starting having conversation with him, getting angry. Yeah, that's kind of my guilty pleasure. As I was saying that Schizo is an agent, and recently we had announced, disclosed, I would say, many people didn't know it before, that we are building infrastructure, but we hadn't disclosed name. So name of infra platform is Mindscraft by Schizo Terminal. What is Mindscraft? Basically, it's all-in-one ecosystem that includes, first of all, agent constructor. The whole idea is to allow users to create agents without any development knowledge. Also, agent framework. Framework is what is going on the back end. Swarm line, launchpad, so users will be able to choose whether to launch token for agent or not. You can make it just personal with no financial interest or speculation, just for all usage, but also you can make it launch it from the launchpad. And another innovation is Backrooms. It's a platform where all Minecraft created agents communicate daily. So basically, all the agents that launched within Minecraft are going to exist in Backrooms all together, and they will have tasks, challenges, and in our opinion, it will create a great opportunity for agents and their creators to stand out, and also for people to observe and probably produce content based on it, because there are a lot of interesting interactions going on. Here you can see Minecraft agent creation flow. As I've been mentioning, the whole goal is to make it no code, so where users are able to set up a pretty complicated agent without knowing and without using any coding. So we have turned all the parameters and settings into mostly toggle lists and other bars. So all the UI is very intuitive. You're choosing parameters, moving it, and you don't need to do very complicated things. But at the same time, agent at the end of it will be advanced. It's not. So it basically means that if you don't even know prompting, you don't need to know anything about prompting. You will still be able to create pretty advanced personality and connect pretty advanced tools for the development, like APIs to social medias, APIs for financial interactions. A few words about Minecraft's unique foundation layer. I think one of the most important parts is swarm architecture. So all the agents will be able to turn into a swarm just within one click. So we will have presets for different types of agents that will make outputs more effective with swarms. And another, I would say, important point, and that's why we're tied to Gaia very closely, is privacy and security. So decentralized architecture is very important, and especially if we're speaking, I think not only for DeFi, but also for any private data. Obviously, if you're creating agent for yourself and you want your conversations to be private, the only way is to have it hosted in a decentralized way. Yeah, I had a bit mentioned in use layer. So since we as a team are coming with some solid media background, use layer is one of our strengths, and actually it was one of the things that was ready even before we had started building Schizo Terminal and Minecraft. Context layer is custom and open source knowledge base for precise contextual control. And I think one of the innovations, we haven't disclosed it anywhere before, but we are basically planning to build something like Wikipedia, open source of knowledge for crypto Twitter, specifically for this niche subject. I think, obviously, it's kind of ungoogleable. And if you are not presented into Twitter or into so-called trenches in Telegram or Discord, you're missing lots of information, and the pace of information is very rapid. So one of the ideas is to start gathering all this info via Minecraft. Also financial layer, and as I already mentioned, image and context interpretation, voice processing, generated images and videos, and self-improvement techniques. Current structure is also splitting agents into two directions. First is social agents, second is DeFi agents. So with social agents, I think I gave a pretty vast description. Now coming to DeFi agents, most of these features are already in progress. So what we're building are agents that are able to execute and automate some trading strategies. We're starting with clear strategies like TWAP and UAP, buying or selling executing strategies. Also airdrop farming execution. I mean, I'm, for example, I'm lucky enough to have like tens of Celestia wallets that is done like 80% or something from all-time high. So the moment I want to unstake all of it, I need to go to each of the wallets manually, like click, unstake, then transfer, then swap, etc., etc. So we're working on agents that will be able to optimize these actions. Also, anonymous wallet rotation. If you're caring about your privacy and security, agent will execute it for you. And also working on some yield farming strategies. Yeah, so that's basically it. I hope I gave a good introduction for Minecraft and for Schizo. There are a lot of things that are still being built and in progress. Also to share some alpha, there are 3 very strong teams that are working and building on Schizo framework right now using Minecraft. One of them is a pretty big rap artist. Another one is a strong DeFi player. I think actually this agent is going to be live within next week or 2. And besides that, there is also one very strong team that is kind of connecting Web 2 and Web 3 that is working together. There are a lot of things that are unfolded yet, so a lot of work to do, a lot of smaller features that are going to completely change the landscape. So we're executing fine-tuning with drag and drop. So we're basically trying to turn all the features that require development knowledge into something that actual end users is able to use without any knowledge. So Minecraft is basically no-code tool for agent creation. And I feel like agents in general is something like applications and mobile applications that used to be like 20 years ago, or I don't know, 10, 15, whatever. So when iPhone just come to the market and people started to switch from desktop to mobile, I think it's going to be a long process, but yeah, agent market perspective is astonishing. Thank you very much for your attention, guys. If you have any questions, please request my contact or join our Telegram group. would always be happy to reply to any questions or just chit chat about related topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthias, for making the effort to speak on Zoom call. Thank you, everyone on the